let's start just by talking about, why is this time of year particularly difficult for people who have been in or are currently in relationships with narcissists? Um, and why? Why is it so difficult? So we're just going to start with the general topic of, first of all, let's just acknowledge that it happens. And many of you may have some experiences, some personal experiences, or maybe you can remember past experiences even. And maybe if you're not currently going through those experiences, you might still be getting triggered around those experiences because your nervous system is still storing that trauma. And so your body's responding to the possibility of it happening again, even if the people who were involved are gone, you're not in their life anymore. So just keep in mind that it can involve like a lot of scenarios, and it can affect you in a lot of different ways. So as you know already, because you're in this community and you've been doing some work and educating yourself, that narcissists live off narcissistic supply, which we define as life force energy, right? Energy, attention. And they don't care if it's negative or positive. Just like when your dog is bad because, she does, because you're not paying attention, or she does something bad, like she chews up your shoe, right? And then you're like, well, maybe you're mad at the dog, but the dog did it because she just wanted your attention, and she didn't care if it was bad or good attention. She just wanted it. And so, yes, I'm comparing narcissists to dogs. Not in a bad way, because I love dogs, but it's a similar behavior, because it's just a really unconscious behavior that narcissists want attention all the time. They want your attention. They want everyone's attention. They want the attention that people are giving you. They want to think about all the attention they could possibly get in the future. And they have strategies that they have set up so that, they're always winning. They always want to know. And they want to be in control, because that's the only way they feel safe. So they've got these scenarios set up. So even in the future, I know I'm going to be getting my supply, and I'm going to be lining. It's always going to be coming to me. This is a terrible way to live. This is a terrible way to live. Thank God we don't live like that. Okay. Thank God we're connected to, or thank source or whatever, that we're connected to, our own source, and that we are our own center, and we're autonomous, and that we enjoy attention that comes to us naturally. And we also enjoy watching other people get success and attention, because we feel connected. We're in a model of oneness, and we know that when other people are happy and joyful and are getting things they want, that it makes us feel good, and we win. It's like a win-win, right? But not in a narcissist world. In a narcissist world, it's win-lose. That's it. Black and white, live or die. Very black and white thinking. So if they're not getting attention, they're not getting supply, then they are losing in their mind. If you're getting it and they're not, they're losing, and they don't want to lose. So let's talk about the holidays, right? What happens at the holidays? The holidays are set up for families to get together, and people and friends, and it's all about, being happy and connecting and sharing, and it's joy. It's supposed to be joyful. It's supposed to be joyful. Yeah. So can you imagine then that if this is the scenario, what a narcissist is thinking, here comes the holidays, and oh, okay, all of a sudden, I'm going to be in this situation where there's going to be a big group of people, and maybe I'm not going to be the center of attention. Maybe my significant other, who I'm getting supply from, or a family member, whoever, is going to be paying attention to other people. It's not going to be about me. I'm not going to get my way. I don't feel safe. They don't feel safe if they're not in control. And the more people that are involved in an event, the less control they feel they have. And also, alternatively, when you bring the family system in, as you know, a narcissist cannot operate in a vacuum. They need a system. So if you're going into the family system in which this person is a part of, then they're going to start working the system. They're going to start working the system, which means, they're going to start behaviors in which they're using the family system to get their supply. And this is going to look like things like triangulation, talking bad about other family members behind their back, trying to get other people to ally with them against others, talking bad about them. Things like bullying, kind of ganging up on other family members, making fun of them, behaviors that are, not, that they're just not healthy. And the family system doesn't realize, many of other family members who aren't narcissists don't realize that they're actually like getting on board with this, because they don't realize they're a part of it. But you realize it, and that's the problem, because you show up there and you've done all this work on yourself, and you have a very low tolerance for these unhealthy behaviors, and you can see them, but maybe some other people in your family can't. So the narcissist knows this, and the narcissist uses this as a way to amp up their supply, right? So, okay, let's just take that now and let's kind of move it forward, okay? So we know narcissists want big supply, and the biggest energy like release that comes in a relationship is usually when there is a drama, right? There's a fight, there's a drama, there's a crisis of some kind. So what better place to stage a drama or a crisis to get huge emotional release from not only that one person you're used to getting it from, but maybe other people, is at a family gathering, at an event. And this is like, a delicious snack for a narcissist. This could sustain them for a long time. If they could get like a big hit of energy from a family event, then, this is really good supply. I know this sounds really sick. Okay, it's like crazy that someone could think like that, but it's just, it's true. It's just this very unconscious way of being. And it's so freeing when you can finally see it for what it is. You can realize this is what's happening. This is what this person is doing. So what we're going to talk about is, okay, now that we've sort of defined, that's why they can really act up around the holidays. That's probably why if you're already kind of thinking, oh, eesh, I'm going to have to go to these gatherings, I have to deal with this person. Either it's someone that you don't see except at holidays, or it's a person you live with, or you're close to, and then they're going to go with you to the holiday event, whatever. So you're already like anticipating the bad things that are going to happen, and your nervous system is already on edge. You're already living in fear, and your anxiety levels are going up. So what can you do about it? Okay, what can you do about it? All right, let's start with that. Let's start with going to enter the family system. If you're going to enter the family system at the holidays in which this narcissist lives and is sustained and is able to hang out there without being detected, then you have to think about this. Okay, first of all, if you're agreeing to do this, if you're going to do this, then you have to know the score. Okay, you have to know ahead of time that you have to expect you're going to get triggered. You have to know the narcissist is going to do something to trigger you and others, to create drama of some kind. You may not know what it is yet, or maybe you do, but it's going to happen. So you just go into the game knowing, okay, I want to go to this event. Think of it just like, it's like a Mission Impossible, okay? It's like, I'm just going to get in, get out, hopefully no one dies, okay? Because it's not long-term. It's an event that has a start and an end. And not only do you go into it with that attitude, you go into it with some boundaries. Like, you set some boundaries ahead of time, okay? You're like, first of all, and you do this within yourself, okay? You don't discuss this with a narcissist. You do this within yourself. You may discuss this with some family members who are non-narcissistic, but you've got boundaries. This is what I won't tolerate, okay? This is what I won't tolerate. So I won't tolerate, let's just say, I'm not going to get into a debate about politics, or we're not going to tolerate a family member making fun of another family member, like talking about their weight or making fun of them for being a vegetarian. I don't know, whatever it is. Like, you've got some boundary that you need to set up ahead of time that you're not going to let people cross. Okay, and you have to do this work ahead of time. You decide what this is. You have to go into it committed to this boundary. Let's just say maybe if you know that there's someone there that can perhaps act inappropriately around your children, or they have it in for your partner, and they may say something rude, or maybe they're homophobic. I mean, who knows? But you know ahead of time, if this happens, then I'm out. Okay, I'm out. No explanations, no apologies. It's done. Over. I'm done. Now, you might discuss this with some other family members. Again, if they're non-narcissistic, okay? You might talk to let's just say you've got a narcissistic brother, and the mother, she's not aware or whatever. And so you're like, look, if so-and-so brother has this behavior, I want you to know that I'm leaving. I'm not going to tolerate it. So maybe that like kind of helps you, like she knows ahead of time. Well, okay, because they're tolerating behavior, but you're not. And that's how you set yourself up to be autonomous from your family system. You can have those boundaries, okay? So that's a deal breaker, whatever it is for you. Have your exit strategy, meaning if you're coming from out of town, make sure you're staying at a hotel, or you've got the plans, like maybe you could drive back and it's no big deal, but don't let yourself get stuck somewhere where you can't exit. So you want to make sure you have an exit strategy. Very important. Again, have it in place and then just execute it. If the deal breaker shows up, execute it and leave. No apologies. Now, I'm going to pause here and I'm just going to say, does that sound easy? I want you to just go ahead and type in the chat, and you can unmute yourself too if you want. Does that sound like something that you think would just be an easy thing to pull off? If this at all, if this at all speaks to you, and maybe it doesn't, but we have some other scenarios we're going to go through in a second. It's not going to be easy. I'll just give it the answer. It's hard. It's hard. It's hard. Okay. So, okay, I'm being realistic here. I'm telling you what you can do to protect yourself, but it may not be easy. So this is why I'm saying you got to go into this prepared. Okay, this is a mission. And so you need to know it's going to be hard. So what you want to do is you want to do something called ride the trigger. You're going to get triggered. It's like a wave, and it comes up and you're observing it. And so whatever it is that happens, and maybe you can tap, okay? Maybe you're not tapping in the family gathering, but you might be able to, but you're still just aware. Here it comes. I'm feeling the trigger. I'm feeling upset. I'm feeling it. Instead of letting yourself get down in the trigger and get overtaken by it, you're riding the wave. And so you're on the top of it and you're just observing yourself. So when you're doing that, you can still execute your strategy because your brain will still be online. Okay. Don't let yourself go down into the middle of the wave and get overtaken and knocked, your surfboard gets knocked over and you're spinning and you don't know which direction you are and you're underwater and you can't breathe. Right? Stay on top of the wave and exit the wave before it overtakes you. That's my kind of metaphor for that. Don't expect that you're not going to have some kind of energy hangover afterwards. You probably are going to have an energy hangover because you're dealing with people, you already know this, who haven't done their work. They're dysfunctional. Some of them might be narcissists, or they're just not healthy people. They don't know how to interact. They're not emotionally healthy. And it takes a lot of energy to be around them. And so even if you navigate it beautifully, and even at like best case scenario, it's just kind of it's just kind of this thing where you just go and like nothing bad happens, but nothing really good happens. It's kind of flat all the way to the worst case scenario happens, but you're still going to feel like a hangover afterwards. So self-care is really, really important. Do your tapping and your meditation and other self-care stuff you do before the event, and do it after or like during, literally like, or after. As soon as you leave this event, and you're, thank goodness, we're on our way home. Start tapping, just start doing the self-care immediately and just acknowledge that it was hard, but you did it and you chose to do it for whatever reason you've decided. I'm going to go into this and I'm going to deal with this. Maybe there's someone there and I'm just tapping just because when I start tapping, it's just my body starts doing it. Whatever you decided you wanted to do this for, maybe you wanted to see another family member that you really care about, for whatever reason it is, just let yourself off the hook, right? And just say, hey, look at my wins. I rode the trigger. I didn't get overtaken. I left. So these are all really good comments and questions. I have a couple more things I want to cover too before we go, because I also wanted to talk about like what's really important too is that you plan like a fun activity for yourself or for the family that you're with, that are emotionally healthy, maybe that you're with, and plan something fun for after the event's over. So you have something to look forward to. And this is for your inner child too. Like, make sure your inner child stays out of this mess and make sure adult you is the only one there dealing with this. And then reward yourself by doing something fun afterwards, whatever that is for you, a movie, or make some crafts, go somewhere fun, do something that, is something that aligns with your value system, and make sure you do that. Like, don't just gloss over that as, oh, but that's really important for your healing. And that self-care and that self-love is allowing your inner child to indulge in something fun that they want to do. Even if it's like cutting up construction paper and making, turkey hand, those little hand turkeys, or something silly that you would do when you were in school, markers, pens, whatever for you. Okay. Let's also talk about like what it's like for people who have gone no contact with family. They're going it alone, because this is another scenario that can happen. There's a lot of things that can come up here is that, if a person is in a level of no contact, meaning they're not actually interacting with a narcissist somewhere, wherever they are in the family system, and they've chosen not to be in contact with that person, and they've also chosen not to go to an event because they're not in contact with that person or other family members. This can definitely create a lot of triggers, even if you're not around the family or around the narcissist, because first of all, it's difficult already. If you have gotten to the point where you've gone no contact, then that means you've been enduring abuse for a long time. You've been in, this is not something people do lightly. Like this, it has to be, people who have done this have gone through so much, and they know that this is just not a safe situation. I can never enter this situation again. It's not physically, mentally, emotionally safe, and I must completely remove myself from this system, this person. So then holidays roll around, and it can really trigger loneliness, and it can trigger your inner child's feeling of abandonment and not having a family, because that's what holidays are about, right? Even if you know that if you went to the holiday, it would feel terrible, and you'd perhaps be attacked or blamed, or, it would just not go well, but your inner child still is going to feel sad. They're going to grieve the loss of the family, and it's important that you just recognize that that can come up for you, that you let yourself have those feelings. Maybe you need to just tap and have a good cry. You need to acknowledge that that is what's coming up for you. And also just remind the inner child why the adult made this choice for you. I made this choice for you. Children can't make these choices for themselves. Your inner child is probably still resisting on some level. I know mine is. It still happens. So you have to remind them, honey, this is why we did this, and I'm protecting you. And remember that, that part of you is going to need a lot of nurturing and care. So you can sort of, over time, you create a bridge. The inner child can come across the bridge and they can be completely on board with it. And then you can eventually move forward and really be at peace with it. But it can take a lot of time. It can also happen that you can get triggered because perhaps you are in like a modified contact of some kind. And so maybe you get some text messages from other family members that don't realize it, but maybe they're somehow, triggering you because they're bringing that person up. Oh, we missed you, or so-and-so said this about you, or, just whatever, even if they're well-meaning, that can still trigger you. because again, it's just that you're being reminded of that there's a loss there, and there is. So I'm not sugarcoating this, and I'm not saying it's easy. Again, I'm saying that it's all about acceptance and acknowledgement of the feelings that are coming up. And it's about creating something new to replace it. So your inner child at this point, if we're talking about like if you're at this point, doesn't have something to replace the old system, the family that's been lost. They don't have something there in place. So it's important to start doing things like creating your own traditions or reclaiming an old tradition for yourself or some other people that you're with, like some good friends, or perhaps other people who are the breakout person in their toxic family system and they're not going to their holidays. And maybe you create like your own special holiday. It's like a haven for people like that. And they come, and you share some kind of tradition. You create new traditions. You do something nurturing and supportive and fun, for yourself and for emotionally healthy people that you choose to be with, whoever they are. And just really honor that's something to celebrate, is that here I am with these people who, maybe they're not my family, but they're people I'm with right now, and it's fun, and we're supporting each other, and it feels good, and it's safe. And that's the thing, is that finally, I've chosen to create something safe for myself. And that's the big, big win. It's important to celebrate, is that I've chosen to create a sanctuary and safety for myself. And I'm only going to be with people who are supportive, are safe, are, healthy, emotionally healthy, right?